Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another issue of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for and by small businesses who are ready to soar higher. They're tired of waiting for those darn pigs to fly, and they want to get out there and work now to grow their business. It's a great venue for people who are ready to jump in and start to work. And this week's podcast is being brought to us by the monthly Entrepreneurial Growth Academy, which is a peer-to-peer advisory board that meets twice a month and shares with people all the different topics, tips, and strategies for growing a business. So thank you, Mega, and we'll be sharing more information about that later. Today's speaker is Elise Smith, and she is a fun and inspiring faith-based business coach and speaker who has been helping others to achieve their sales goals for almost 10 years. She has been through the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur herself and has found amazing techniques to silence that negative voice that she calls her inner dream stealer. And she loves to share what she has learned with others. She is trained as a core energy coach who creates lasting change from the inside out. Her sole purpose is empowering other women entrepreneurs to build a divine business through powerful goal setting with their higher power. She is the founder of the Smart Heart Goal methodology, which combines strategy and heart to maximize the productivity and attract their ideal clients, all enabling them to fulfill their soul purpose. Welcome, Elise.
Thanks, Nancy. I'm excited to be here.
I am excited to hear from you. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, and I am sure that our listeners are really excited to hear your wonderful words of wisdom as well.
Thank you.
The first thing that I want to jump into is something in your bio that caught my attention, and I am all about setting powerful goal-setting techniques. So I want to talk about that. Share with us what you mean when you say, your powerful goal-setting with their higher power. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that is definitely a passion I have of mine. So here's the thing. I have been empowering people to achieve their goals and studying goals for about 10 years now. And what I found is that there's a lot of holes in techniques at the moment. We all know SMART technique, right? The specific, measurable, achievable. You guys could all probably recite that in your sleep. We've heard it so much. Yeah. So that's the strategy piece of it. It helps you get really clear about your goals, but it doesn't really give you action steps to take for achieving that goal. So that's one side of the strategy piece. That's great, but if you don't have the motivation and the understanding of the why and understanding what's been holding you back from achieving this goal, then strategy is only half of the equation. So what I do with Smart Heart goal setting is I combine strategy and heart, or a lot to do with your mindset and how you're feeling, with divine guidance. So I am a faith-based coach, and I love that because I get to talk to my clients about what's really going on, right? That concept of being able to partner with your higher power and have God be the CEO of your business, because who else was better to have as your CEO than the omnipotent one, right? So that's really what we do, is we focus on the strategy, because you have to know the steps to take in order to achieve your goal, right? We focus on the heart to be able to understand your why, what really motivates you and what's been holding you back. And then we tie that all together by helping you build a better relationship with your higher power so that you can receive that divine guidance, know what steps to take and when, and also have that strength and that peace that comes only from God. So I absolutely love this methodology. It brings everything together so you can accomplish your goals.
If someone, and that sounds wonderful, and I'm going, yeah, I understand that. I see, because I'm a big SMART goal trainer and believer, but I actually add in all the to-dos along with that, you know. So I do make it, and I call them small wins, because if you sit there and you create a goal, well, a goal is nothing but a dream unless you actually put it into action.
Exactly.
And so I work with my clients on actually creating the item steps. And I've been doing a lot of mindset work lately as well. So I can see how the mindset part of it comes into all of this. And I, too, am a believer in a higher power. But I'm thinking, if someone, and that's probably not your ideal client, but if someone comes to you and says, you know, hey, Elise, I really, really want to work with you, and I get the first two things, but I don't really get the last part of this.
Yeah.
How do you work with them? How do you get them into the program and doing the things that you would like to see them doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am very sensitive to my clients' needs and preferences. And the greatest thing about it is that, you know, if you believe in a higher power or God or the universe, I think it's all very much the same. So it's kind of just tweaking that from, maybe you don't believe in like one God, or, you know, however that looks like to you, but you really connect with nature on a whole nother level. Or you believe in the law of attraction in that way, where you put it out into the universe and then you can receive it back. So I've worked with people who are Christian and non-Christian, and that's just what we do. We tailor it to what is best for you and what connects with you. Because when you're able to connect with, you know, even your higher self, whatever that looks like, because we have a lot of the answers inside of us. And so when we connect with that part of us, that's when we can take goal achievement to a whole nother level, because it's just stepping outside of ourselves and realizing we don't have to do it alone. I think as entrepreneurs, we think that a lot, that it's all on our shoulders, and it can be really overwhelming and lonely at times. But that concept is just to be able to open you up to that higher connection, so that you can connect with that and receive more guidance and have a more open mind to the different opportunities that are coming. So absolutely, the universe and the law of attraction, to me, it's all under the same umbrella, just how you look at it.
Well, and that was actually going to be my next question. Is I talk a lot with my clients about the law of attraction and about vision boards.
Yeah.
And I totally believe in vision boards. I love them. If you would have asked me that a year and a half ago, I would have said, oh, it's just ridiculous. It's just like the movie, you know, if you build the baseball field, everybody will come. That's crazy. You know, I never believed in it. And I said, you know, and to a certain extent, I still don't. So I'd like to talk about that. But what I do see is, a lot of times when people talk of the law of attraction, I think they just say, okay, this is what I want, and I'm just going to sit back and wait for it to come.
Uh-huh.
And we've just been talking about action. And, you know, that's where my don't wait till pigs fly comes in, is because, you know, I've built a business. I've got a Facebook page, you know. Where's all my clients? I just was talking to somebody before our interview started, and they said, yeah, I've got a Facebook page. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm this, I'm on that. And I said to them, because they couldn't figure out why they weren't getting clients. And I said, well, what do you do to work these pages? They said, well, but I've got the page.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think the law of attraction works if you just sit there and say, I'm going to get it.
Yep, totally agree.
But it's very interesting in that I've got a vision board, and this is now, I change them about every 6 months. And I've got, the first one that I had a picture of a house, a really nice house. I wanted to buy my own house. I was tired of living in my dad's basement. My car was falling apart and I wanted a convertible. It was just one of these things that I wanted, and there were all of these things that I really wanted. And I put them on this vision board and I looked at them day in and day out. All the while, I'm working my business. I'm not just sitting there eating popcorn and watching TV. I'm working. But I've got those pictures there. And when I finally changed out for the new vision board, I realized, well, I don't have the picture. I don't have the house that was the picture, but I have my own house.
Hey.
I do have a convertible. And everything else that was on that vision board had come true in one way or another.
Yeah.
And I think that's just amazing because I didn't set out to say, I'm going to go buy a house, or I didn't set out to say, I'm going to go buy a convertible.
Yeah.
That was just sort of happening. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about this a lot because it drives me nuts on social media when people say, I am attracting large sums of money. And then they go to their mailbox the next day actually thinking there's going to be a $10,000 check there. And they haven't done any of the work to be able to get there. And so I completely agree with you. The law of attraction, I think there's something really there. And the reason why I feel like it works is because we've all heard that phrase, what you focus on expands. Or from a biblical standpoint, what you seek, ye shall find. And what happens with the law of attraction, whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever, what happens is it opens up your mind to possibilities. It's like when you bought that convertible, you probably didn't see that convertible a whole lot before you bought it. But then when you buy it, you're like, wow, everybody around me has a convertible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the way our minds are, is that when we give ourselves a goal, that's why goal setting is so important and vision boards are so important, because when we set that intention, then everything that we look at is helping us to build, and everything we do is helping us to build towards that goal and that dream. Our brains are just automatically wired that if we give it a problem, it's going to solve it, and it's going to keep its mind open and your eyes open and your heart open to any opportunities that come that can lead to that convertible or that house or the higher income or however it is that you're going for. And so, I don't know so much about that concept of, putting it out into the universe and letting it come back to you. For me, it's more logistic of it opens up your heart and your mind and your eyes to see opportunities that you may not have seen before, and gives you a different perspective and something to really push you in that direction and gives you focus for those tasks that will get you there. So that's how I feel about the law of attraction. I think it's really neat, and there's probably so much to it that we don't understand as humans, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But to me, it just goes perfectly with that concept of if ye seek, ye shall find.
Yeah, I love it, and I think I'm getting ready to change my board again, and I think that quote's gonna go up there on the vision board.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Let me see here. What's another good question for you? What inspired you to be a coach in the first place? I think you've got a real passion for this, I can see, and so how did you get started?
Yeah, so I have always loved to help people. And about 4 years ago, I had this impression to start my own blog. I had no idea what I was doing or what I was really even going to write about, but that's where that inner dream stealer concept came from, is I wanted to be able to put my thoughts down in an electronic form for other people to read that is walking through these daily struggles that we go through as entrepreneurs as we're building our business. And so it really started with my blog on lastingempowerment.com, and that one was definitely a start for me. And I did that for quite a while, and then I switched a little bit more towards vlogs because that's a lot easier, and I can just be myself on vlogs. But what happened was I was helping people to achieve their goals in a business setting, and I realized, wow, I can completely do this for myself. There's a great book called Success Principles Goals by Jack Canfield. I would highly recommend it. In that book, I read something that changed my life forever, and that is that successful people do what they love to do. They get paid for what they love to do pretty well, and they're good at it. And for me, that exact moment when I read that, I was like, I am a really good coach because I have already gotten a lot of people to achieve their goals already. I have a passion for empowering others, especially women entrepreneurs. I like working with men too, but women are from my own heart because I know how it feels to fight that inner dream stealer, that self-doubt. And I don't think men fight that as much as women a lot of times. And so that's really what helped me to see that that was the path that I was supposed to take. And the very first time I got my coaching client, you know when you're in the right spot for you. Everything just kind of aligns, and you know that this is your soul purpose. And I use that SOUL because that is so, it's my sole purpose to empower other people to achieve their goals and dreams because it just lights me up. So that's how I got started.
I love it. I love it. And I think I'm trying to articulate this question that's circling around in my mind here. And a lot of times, and I know here in Michigan, we've still got a lot of economic issues going on from back in 2008. Mm-hmm. And, the auto industry isn't what it used to be. You can drive downtown and see empty buildings everywhere. And, there's still a lot of, I wouldn't say poverty going on, but just drudging through the day.
Yeah. And
people lost jobs incredibly. Many people lost jobs during this whole, and it's like, it's funny because you've got a couple of different areas now where people who want jobs are either too old, mm-hmm. and nobody wants to hire them because they're too old, or they're kids and they feel like they're, they should be making $15 an hour at McDonald's, they just, and so a lot of people wound up starting businesses for themselves because mm-hmm. they just couldn't find a fit. But yet it's not that soul. It's just, I need to do something. I got to have an income coming in, and I can't find a job, anything that I want. So I'm just going to start a business for myself.
Yeah.
What do you tell people in that kind of a position?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I think that we can find passion in anything we look for it, right? I mean, kind of goes back to what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, that if you look for it, you will find it. And even if you're building a business or even in a job that maybe you don't really like, I would encourage you to look at the things you do like about your job or your business and actually ask yourself, what did I want to be when I was a kid, right? Did I want to be the astronaut? Did I want to be the teacher? And what was it about that when you were a child that made you want to be that? So for me, I wanted to be a teacher because I love to teach and I love helping people and making those connections with others. I didn't end up being a teacher, but what I did find is even when I was in a job I disliked, I found ways to incorporate that passion and that soul, like you were talking about, into my job or the business that I have currently. I would always say follow your passion and your soul and go after your soul purpose. So maybe it is time to make that change. And go for what you really want. But if you are where you're at right now and you can't make that move or you don't feel impressed to do so, I would just look for the joy in it. Look for the passion, because passion and soul purpose is a choice, right? You choose into that feeling. And I guarantee you will have better results when you have more passion in what you do and more joy. And you will also make a bigger impact on your circle of influence. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, and thinking about that, I'm thinking, you wake up in the morning and we wake up, like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and my husband's getting ready to go to work, and I could roll over and I could go back to sleep, but I think I really want to get up. I really want to start this day. I've got so much to do. And not lately have I been jumping out of bed, but you kind of, I get out of bed and I'm excited about doing everything that I have to do. And then there are other times when I go, oh, I just want to go back to sleep. I don't want to do this. And how you feel when you get up and get out of bed in the morning creates the whole day. It sets the pattern for the whole day.
Yeah.
So would you advise, that if you can, do you have any thoughts on something that somebody can do to get their day started right? Are there mantras or, anything like that you do yourself or that you share with your clients to try to get them going in the right direction?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that first few minutes of the day sets the tone, like you said, for the whole rest of your day. So why not gain some small wins right there in the beginning, right? And it's so funny that you would ask this because I am a snooze button person. I mean, literally like 10 times I will snooze. And it's not because I'm not excited about my day. That's just a struggle for me. I've even moved my phone into the bathroom, so I actually have to get up and turn my alarm off. But the thing is that once you are up, the idea is to collect those small wins. Now, I know this is going to sound silly, but brushing your teeth in the morning is totally a small win. Reading an affirmation, that's something that I like to do. I have on my mirror my own personal affirmation. I don't really believe in the canned ones because I don't think it speaks to your heart as much as a personal one does. So I created my own affirmation that has scriptures and great thoughts and a little bit of a story to it. So I read that on a daily basis, and that helps to get my mind in the right spot. But really what I do is I just count up my wins for the day. Because if you're waking up dreading, the rest of the day, then that's how it's going to go, is that you're going to have that drudgery throughout the whole day. But if you wake up and you feel like a success already because you brushed your teeth and you ate breakfast, and sometimes I even have to cook breakfast, and that's a huge win for me because my husband's the cook in the house. Yeah, you do. Yeah. And so if you can keep track of those small wins at the very beginning, then that's just going to add to every single time that you win throughout the day. You're going to realize that a lot more. And every win and every success is the building block to your dream life, even if it's as small as brushing your teeth. So looking for that, and then also just being grateful, waking up with gratitude in your heart of, thank God for the day that you've been given, because I didn't have to wake up this morning. Like, something could have happened, we just never know what's going to happen. And for me, it's really powerful to be grateful for something I haven't yet received. So if I wake up in the morning and when I wake up in the morning and I say to God, thank you for this wonderful day, I'm already setting myself up to have a wonderful day. And I'll get specific too. If I'm going to meet with a client, or if I have a special doctor's appointment or something like that I'm going to that day, I will tell my Heavenly Father, because that's how I consider him. I will say, thank you for helping me to get good news at my doctor's appointment today, or thank you for helping me to bring my best to my clients today. And it's really hard for you to not see that in your day when you are grateful for it before it even begins. So those are a couple of tips that I use and that some of my clients use, is being grateful at the beginning of the day for things you haven't even received yet, counting up your small wins and your successes right there in the very beginning of the morning, and reading your own affirmation. Those 3 things are super powerful.
Interesting, because I've just been talking about all these things with my clients and reading about them myself. And one of the Facebook groups I'm in, they've been talking lately about not turning on your phone, not turning on Facebook for the first couple of hours you're up in the morning. Yeah. And Instead, start work and start making a list of not to-dos, but what she calls them is dones.
Oh, I love it.
And you list the things that you get done within that first 2 hours of the morning.
Nice.
And you sit there and you look at it, and then it's okay to turn on Facebook and do all that kind of stuff, but you sit there and you look at that list, and I know for a fact, because I know for me, when I'm doing my SMART goals and when I'm doing my to-dos, every single thing that I accomplish, I check off with a red pen.
Nice.
And to me, that red pen just means, wow, I've done it. That's one more thing that I've done. And it makes you really feel good. It's excited. It's passionate. It's, showing that you're not just sitting here like a lump.
Yeah.
And I love that idea of, and I tell my clients to every week, at the end of the week, write out everything that they've accomplished for the whole week.
Wow.
What have you done this week? And somebody will say, oh, I haven't really done anything. But if you've written it all down and you've got that right there in front of you, it's amazing. And so, I think you're talking about looking at the things you've done and the successes. I think is great.
Yep, absolutely. I love that, the dones instead of to-dos, because it's all about perception, right? A lot of times, almost every single person on this earth, we're always saying to ourselves, we never have enough time. We look at that huge to-do list of all these different things that we have to get done, as opposed to looking at the things that we did do compared to the things we haven't done yet. That is really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. I'm going to steal it.
Go for it. It's great. I'm trying to do it too. And then I have the other thing that we've been talking about that you happen to mention, and I have a question for you on this, for myself as well as for everyone else, as we were actually talking about this the other day. I'm in another group where we're talking about gratitudes, and the leader of this group was talking about how she takes 1 to 3 minutes 2 to 3 times a day and just sits there and shares gratefulness for things that have not yet happened.
Wow.
Okay. But I have a problem with that.
Okay.
So I want your tell me how to get past this. I sit there, and I've been trying to do this, and I'll sit there, and the things she uses examples were like, I have a new check to deposit into the bank today for $20,000. I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful that I have 10 new members for my mastermind program. I'm so, and my question is, when you're doing things like that, those are big things.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, I don't know that I believe that. So it's one thing to sit there and say, I'm grateful for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to really believe it. So do you have to believe it in order for it to be beneficial?
Well, let me ask you, would it hurt to try to believe it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to hurt to try to believe it. But what I think is that law of attraction, that belief that things are going to happen because you've thanked God for it already, that's a muscle that you have to work. And so one of the best ways to do that is to test it. So if you are not to that point, and to be honest, I'm not to that point either of, thank you for the $50,000 check that I'm about to receive today. Because I also believe in the law of work, right? but let's say that you're pulling into, a Walmart parking lot, and what you say in your head or out loud is, thank you, God, for giving me a front row parking spot as I'm pulling into the parking lot. That is a really small thing, right? But every single time that I do that and I strengthen that muscle, that means that I'm going to believe it more and more. It's just like building trust with someone. You have to have lots of different experiences, and they build upon each other until you feel like you can trust that person completely. Well, it's kind of like trusting yourself to believe and building that belief and that faith in God or the universe or however you want to look at it. And so that's what I teach my clients to do, is they actually practice believing with the small things, because it's so much easier to believe you're going to get an awesome parking spot at Walmart than a $20,000 check, right?
Yeah.
So as you build up to that, and also understand God's will and God's timing for you, and build goals and expectations and intentions with God, so that you have that almost endorsement on your goal. That way you can believe it a lot more. So test it, test the law of attraction. How does that work for you? And start small and start building that muscle, and do it multiple times a day. And it is amazing. Like, at one time I told God, like, thank you for giving me every green light to my parents' house today. And it totally worked. I got every green light to my parents' house that day. But I think that it's something that you have to kind of strengthen. And you can't be affected if it doesn't happen. If I get a yellow light or a red light, it's not that big of a deal because it's small, right? Right. But what you're doing is you're teaching yourself to look for those opportunities, to keep your heart and your mind open, and that those things can come to you. It just may not be in the way that you think. I love it when my clients set income goals for themselves, of making an extra $2,000 a month. And we'll build a goal and a plan around how to do that with their business. But all of a sudden, they're like getting a check in the mail randomly for $100, and somebody paid for their groceries. And like, there's all these different ways that we can receive. It doesn't always have to be in the way that we think it's going to be. And when you're open like that, things just happen for you. Everything in the universe kind of helps to build that and helps you to get to that point. So I hope that answered your question. I kind of went on a little tangent.
No, that's great, and I really love it. And I can see how that makes a lot of sense and can work. And I've done the parking lot myself, There's the parking space. But what frustrates me, and I think what may be the problem, is that, like me, others jump into this and they're saying, I'm going to get a $20,000 check today. Yep. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's like going to the gym after, 3 months of not going or never going and thinking you're going to bench 400 pounds, right? You got to work yourself up to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, and okay, while I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to get that 20,000 today, and it doesn't happen, and I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to get that 20,000, and it doesn't. It gets to the point after a while, if you're so strategically focused on that $20,000 check that you're not seeing these other things, that can really be a disaster. And it's like I said, the house on my vision board's not the house that I got. The car on the vision board's not the car that I got, but I got them.
Yeah. And do you really care that it wasn't that specific? You still got it.
Yeah. So I think that's important for our listeners to understand, is that first and foremost, you have to be open.
Yep.
To the possibilities, anything that's out there. And it may not come in the way that you expected it or that you particularly wanted it, but you're right. I got a house. I don't care that it's, on the middle of, on the top of a mountain next to a river and it's all glass. I got a house. I'm nice and warm and, out of the elements, and it's mine.
Yeah.
So I think that all of these things are really, really important. And if you're one of our listeners and you say, well, this is really important stuff, I like it, I want to do more with it, how do I get started?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would encourage you to check out www.lastingempowerment.com. You can schedule a free session for us to talk and see how I can assist you. But really what I have going on is I love my group coaching program. It's called Divinely Driven, and it is for entrepreneurs that are driven, but they want to include God in their goals, because that's where the magic really comes from. And so during that 90-day course that we have, it's 90 minutes once a week, so you get a lot of great content. You have an accountability partner, because that's half the reason why people don't hit goals, right? It's not being held accountable. But what we're really going to do in that program, we're going to set you up with the goal that you have in mind, right? And give you that strategy customized to what you need. But even more than that is we're going to focus on those roadblocks. Because we all know the second you put a goal down on paper or typed up or anything like that, when you set that goal, it feels like the whole universe is trying to stop you from achieving it sometimes. And we know roadblocks are going to come up. So roadblocks usually are internal. That's what you're saying to yourself in your head and what you're thinking about. And honestly, if you don't believe that you can achieve the goal, you won't. Right? So let's turn it around and let's help you to believe in that goal and believe in yourself so that you can achieve that. And with God on your side, it's even more powerful. So that is how we spend most of that program, is that you're going to identify a big, scary task that you are like terrified to do to get you closer to your goal. And we're going to hold you accountable to that. And we do it in a really fun way.
And when does the program start?
It is actually the first week of April. We have Thursdays and Saturday options open. And so that'll be the first week of April. And if you contact me before the last week of April, I don't know exactly when this podcast will go out, then we can even look at a nice discount to get you involved. So I love empowering other people, and especially when you can get in that group of entrepreneurs and have that powerful mindset and know how to overcome those roadblocks, man, you just become unstoppable.
Is this a small group? I mean, is it large? Is it small? How many people are in the group usually?
We keep it under 10. The ideal number is between 5 and 8, just so that you have a lot of time that we can spend focused on your business so you don't get lost in that crowd. So yeah, absolutely. Okay.
And again, how does one find out more about it?
Yeah, you can go on to www.lastingempowerment.com. And when you choose to set up an introduction call with me, then we can figure out exactly what that looks like for your business and what kind of results you can expect from this program.
Great. Elise, what is your goal for the next upcoming 6 months? What is it that you would like to accomplish?
Yeah, for me, it is all about systematizing my business. That's kind of the advance, right? We get figuring out what works for us and what sells and, marketing and all of that. And for me, I'm to the point now where I am hiring more people. I am delegating. Yeah, exactly. That's a huge win, right? And just getting really systematized on and automating my whole sales and marketing funnel. So that is the goal that I have. But even more than that, do you mind if I get a little personal for just a second?
Go right ahead.
Awesome. So I'm going to give a short story here to help build on what I'm saying here. So I have actually struggled with infertility for over 10 years now. I have always wanted to be a mom from as young as I can possibly remember. And so to get that news from the doctor of having unexplained infertility was really, really hard. And my friend who was going through this at the same time, she found a doctor to be able to fund her IVF, which is a $16,000 procedure to try for a baby. Some doctor decided to fund that for her completely free, which we were just amazed at that point. And I have always had a goal ever since I got started in business to make $53,588.33 a month. Right? You've got to be specific, right? So I I was in my car the other day after, hearing about my friend who has this amazing opportunity. And I was talking to God and I was saying, why do you want me to make $53,000 a month? Like, I'd settle for 10, at the time. And it hit me is because I have a bigger purpose than just my business. And I guarantee we all have that sole purpose that we've been talking about. And so I love to empower entrepreneurs, and that is my passion, absolutely. But for me to be able to make that money, I really want to have a place to put it. I don't necessarily so much need the big house and all the cars and that kind of thing. What I want to do is make a huge impact on the world. So what I'm doing in the next 6 months to a year is building my foundation. And this foundation is where a piece of every a part of every part of income that I get from the business will actually go to this foundation to fund one woman's IVF every quarter, because that is something that I feel so passionate about, and I know the impact that that can make on other people. So that is a goal of mine, is to start my foundation and to fund my first woman's IVF by that year mark, so that it's more than just about providing that income and making that money. I want to make that impact on the world that a lot of people just cannot do. And I know that I can do that. And so that's what I'm super passionate about. And thanks for letting me get personal for a second there. That is a goal of mine.
Well, I just, my heart is just, going out, because I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think that more people need to be doing more with that kind of a whole concept. I know for me, part of what I do is I give back to, there's a very, very small organization locally that works with wounded vets. And it's not the Wounded Warriors. It's not the really big thing. It's local. It's, just homegrown kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I give to that on a regular basis, because my husband's retired out of the Marine Corps, and so many of our friends are military or law enforcement, or, all these different caring and giving communities. And I think we need to give back to them all as well. So it's, and that makes me feel better as a person and as a business person, to be able to give to, to someone else. And it's amazing how what I've been talking about all week, we're talking about now. What is that called? We were just talking about it.
Exactly.
But somebody said, what is your great aspiration? And I said, for the longest time, I just wanted to help people with their businesses. And recently I realized that in order to help others with their businesses, I have to help myself. And when I help myself, then I can help more people in more ways. And I think that's a beautiful thought, and I wish you all the luck, and I know that it's going to happen for you.
Thank you. It's something that, your why has to be bigger than you. Otherwise, it's so easy to take your own excuses and to accept your own excuses. And so for me, that's what I feel drawn to do. And, maybe down the road, it'll change into or morph into something else. But at this moment, that's what I'm drawn to. And it's so awesome that I get to empower other people along the way to reach their goals so they can figure out how to give back to society as well. So love it.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. So we are coming to the end of our time, and I just want to make sure that we covered everything that you would like to cover today. Is there anything else that you would love to share with us that you think our listeners need to hear?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say just keep going for your goals. We've all set those goals where we keep hitting that roadblock, and month after month after month, we're not hitting that. And when you get stuck, that is a signal to yourself that you need to change something, that you need to look at something in a different way. And so don't give up on those goals and those dreams that you have, because I truly believe that every single one of us were put on this earth to accomplish something that only we can accomplish. And there's so many people waiting for us to do that. Whether you're in a service business or a sales or retail or however you want to look at it, you are doing a bigger service to the world than just bringing in income. And so that when you look at your business that way as your sole purpose and the thing that's helping you to achieve that, it is so powerful. So keep going for those goals and dreams. And one last plug I want to give myself here is for Facebook. We have, this is for ladies, sorry guys, we have a great group that is called Faithful Ladypreneurs. And this group is awesome to be able to share your struggles and your accomplishments. It's a closed private group, so you can ask to be let into this group so you can join amazing women entrepreneurs who are doing the same thing as you. And you get real tactical information here. We put you on the spot and we say, give us your 1-minute pitch, and then we give you feedback on that. Or your ad that you're creating, you can get that in a really safe environment. So I would love to have these ladies who are listening on the call today to be able to go to Faithful Ladypreneurs on Facebook, and we'd love to have you join the community.
Sounds great. I will go right after we're off this call.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much, Elise. It certainly has given me a lot of opportunity to think and expand my mind over this last hour, and I'm sure that our listeners have really gotten a lot out of it as well. If anybody would like to follow up with you, to ask you questions, to chat, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can definitely email me. It's e@lastingempowerment.com, or they can check out my website and contact me there, or find me on Facebook. I'm Elise Marshall Smith, because that was my maiden name.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I want to thank you very, very much. This has been a great, great time. I've enjoyed talking with you. I know that our listeners have enjoyed it. And guys, if you liked today's conversation, there's lots more to come. We have wonderful guest speakers every week. Everybody that's here comes because they want to share with you their knowledge and expertise. If you have questions, if you would like a specific topic, let me know in the comments. Like this podcast, share it with others, and let's just get this really going and growing. Don't just sit there and wait till pigs fly, but soar higher now. Until next week, I look forward to hearing from you and talking again soon. Take care all, and have a great weekend. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.